Some people say God made the world in 7 days. I think it shows. There's a lot of sloppy craftsmanship out there. But the universe is a messy thing, and a fictional universe is no different. We already have the basics in place. We know what we're going for, the overall idea. Now it's about starting to fill that idea out with content. People tend to think that everything has to be a stroke of genius. That's not exactly correct. If it was, the world would look very different. A lot of work in every field is just getting the basics right, just getting what needs to be there in there. A fictional universe needs people and places. It needs places where things can happen. It needs people who can get involved or get in the way. These need not be genius. These need not be complex ideas, everything being some kind of imaginative new creation. You do not need to reinvent the wheel with everything you put in a fictional universe. You start with the basics. What do we have? We have a lot of islands on which there is an academy, a cooking academy. So what do we need? An academy needs lecture halls, classrooms, libraries. A cooking academy needs kitchens, lots and lots of kitchens. But what else does it need? The academy is pretty isolated. The islands are far away from every other kind of civilization. So we need places for students and staff to live. Student housing. Lots and lots of student housing. We need places where they can shop, where they can get what they need. Stores. People who man the stores, people who supply the stores. We need people who can make sure that things are working. Maintenance, administration, security. All of these things are basic, but getting them right means having a foundation to build on. So we have a campus with everything needed for the academy to teach its students. Student housing would be nearby or in the surrounding countryside. Then we have all the little amenities. We have a town nearby for stores and shops, for places that people need to go in their daily lives, for places that people want to go in their daily lives. Restaurants, nightclubs, parks, cinemas, places to entertain themselves, places to be when they don't have to be anywhere else, just for kicks. We'll place them on separate islands. We'll have one island for the town and one island for the academy. Travel between them isn't difficult, but it still needs to be done. So when you're in one, you feel like you're there. And when you're in the other, you feel like you're there. It's a small thing. Seems kind of meaningless in the bigger picture, but it adds a sense of isolation. It adds a sense of being stuck wherever you are. What else is there to a fictional universe? Well, people like groups. People like belonging somewhere. People like fitting in. And that just gets a whole lot easier when you're dealing with a small group that has some kind of common interest. Any academy might have a wide range of options, courses, seminars, different paths to take, but people like it simple, so we'll have departments. People like categories. People people like to put things into neat little boxes. So we have departments that each focus on a different kind of cooking. We have the meat people. We have the cheese people. We have the vegetable people, the fruit people. We have people for different kind of dishes. We have people for spicy. We have people for traditional dishes. We have people for expensive dishes. All of them groups, all of them departments, actual defined departments at the academy. And where you have groups of people, you have rivalries, you have competition, you even have hostility. Groups relate to other groups in different ways. Some are allies, some are friends, some are tentative allies, always worried that the other might turn on them. Some are the aforementioned rivals, some outright enemies. You have people within groups that stand out, veteran teachers, star pupils, individuals who will be noticed and be known by others, and their rivalries will influence the groups and thereby the students in them. And then you have the more practical, day-to-day kind of groups, the ones that keep things running. You have administration, bureaucracy, you have security, and on isolated islands, you'll need your own emergency personnel, you'll need your own medical personnel, you need your own first responders to emergencies, fire, disaster, hazardous spills, anything that you might imagine could go wrong. There is no society around this place. There's nobody else to step in when someone is needed. So these people have to be there too, these groups. And these groups need their own places. A place for doctors to treat patients. A place for security to keep prisoners. All of these things start to define a fictional universe. It may still be simple, it may even be a bit bland, but it's the beginning of fleshing out what is really there. So how do you take the basic fundamentals and make them interesting? Well, it all depends on the style that you've chosen. I've chosen silly, so that poses its own special challenges. How do you make something this rooted in very real, practical, and to be perfectly honest, kind of boring places silly? Well, as someone once told me, a banana is just a banana, but a 50-pound banana is a 50-pound banana. It's all about exaggeration. It's all about taking things that you think you know, twisting them, changing them in simple ways that make them stand out, that make them just a little bit weird. The security forces on campus aren't just mall cops walking around doing their job as best as they can. There's no such thing as a casually competent person when you're dealing with silly stories. Everyone is a bumbling idiot or a raving lunatic in one way or another. So you have basic security that stumbles around and is confused by everything, and you have your elite security who come storming in, tearing everything apart just to get the job done. Overkill. Overkill is the name of the game. Overkill in every way imaginable. The people who study meat don't just study meat. They do genetic experiments to create monstrous livestock that they can get new kinds of meat from. The people who grow crops don't just grow crops. They grow super crops. They grow tomatoes the size of basketballs. Rivalries between departments aren't just arguments or discussions. There's sabotage, there are attacks, there's slander. Everything is cranked up a notch. It might seem simple, might seem laughable, but things usually are simpler than they seem. And a little silliness like this can go a long way. Well, that and a buttload of puns, silly acronyms. There's a certain glory in finding the good dad jokes out there. Something that only the connoisseurs of good silliness will truly appreciate. So that is one way that we will take it.